I didn't and wasn't aware that speaking on the fact that Ice Spice benefits from colorism was controversial. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
Girl, I know y'all like not colorism again, and you're gonna always get it again in the words of MC Deborah. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation because recently, earlier this week or whenever it was, I can't remember, I posted a response to a video of Ice Spice performing, and I was like, ooh, it looks like that, pretty privileged in quotations must have took the night off because the crowd wasn't feeling it. And, a couple of people was like, well, she was performing in front of a crowd that's not her crowd usually, and you all expect a lot from female rappers and da-da-da-da, and y'all don't do the same thing for men. First and foremost, girl, male rappers will never get my money. First and foremost, male rappers do not, I'm not paying to see no male rapper. Like, you can't, I'm not paying. Like, the last couple of concerts have been, like, women, period. Like, Flo Milli. The only male rapper that I have supported is Lil Nas X, and he's queer. I'm not going to see straight men. Boring. Like, I already know that. And it is true that male rappers get to walk around the stage in white shirts and jeans and big ugly chains with no choreography, no dancers, no nothing. And they're still able to do that, and it's not criticizing all that other stuff. But for the content that I'm consuming, for the stuff that I'm interested in and supporting, that's just what it is. And Ice Spice is Ice Spice. And I get that she's not going to do the things that other female rappers do or whatever. She has her own thing. She's having fun. But I remember specifically back when JT was in jail and Young Miami was performing by herself, y'all clowned her. Y'all clowned Young Miami down. Like, Young Miami was performing in front of these smaller crowds, these smaller venues, in these clubs and stuff. And, it seemed like Young Miami was having fun. But some folks were like, I don't know if she's having fun. She did seem nervous. But I just had some criticism too, had some things to say about Young Miami. Folks were very critical of Young Miami. And then when JT got out of jail and they performed together, people were critical of them. They were just like, hey, I don't think they're gonna make it. JT don't seem to have it. They don't have the stage presence. They don't have any of that. They don't have it. So, and you know what? Some of the conversations were needed. For these artists to get better and develop, they're gonna have to accept some criticism. The same as anybody who presents any type of art form in front of the public. You're gonna have to take in some criticism. I've had to take in criticism and still do, because I'm not gonna ever be perfect. But I want to fine tune it as best as I can with the comfort of my own creativity to continue to push forward. So now we look at the City Girls, and the performance are giving more than just in a club. They're giving real performances. I would go see the City Girls if they were touring by themselves. I would go see them because okay, girl, they've got it. How they get on the stage, how they move around. The same thing with Saucy Santana. Saucy Santana chewing on the stage. Every time I've seen Saucy Santana come in front of a stage or anything, he always eats it. So I'm just confused, and now we've seen all the rap girls and the rap boys, because even Lil Nas X was getting chewed up for his performances. Getting chewed up ooh girl, this ain't giving. But now Ice Spice is able to come out here in a t-shirt and pajamas. No shade, because the outfit, I didn't like the outfit. But Ice Spice is now able to come out, and perform and not give stage presence. Because I've seen a couple of her videos and performances, and they're just not giving a performance in front of a major crowd. It's giving the beginning stages of a gymnasium or something. And it's just giving that. And it's okay. She's brand new. Doesn't mean she's not talented. It just means that she's going to have to get there. And I trust she will get there eventually. But what I'm really confused about is the fact that so many people were jumping to defend this girl from just the basics of criticism. Now, I get some of the criticism of Ice Spice is rooted in misogyny and misogyny war. It's the same as for like all the other like black female rappers. All of them have received it. I just never seen this defense this strong ever. And the rise of Ice Spice in the last 2 years, or however she's been out, is something that other girls have not had access to. And I'm wondering why. Like, why is that? Like, because I'm seeing her performances and they're not like stellar, they're not blowing away. I'm listening to the songs are cute. You know, like I'm listening to them like, I was in the shower listening to it. I was like, okay, this is cute, girl. Was I lying? Like it's stuck in my head. But I'm not like blown away by the music, and some people are. But I've seen other girls who've had good songs, good choreography, good stage presence, and all of that get chewed up when they come on the stage. Get chewed up and talked about. So Ice Spice, to me, Ice Spice in this conversation is able to benefit from colorism and giving less than other like dark-skinned female rappers and get more visibility, get more access. And I don't care how y'all can feel about it. I'm going to name it. Like if you look at all of the mainstream female rappers, you can't even name, I can't, one that is mainstream, that is dark skinned and like popping. Like they just don't exist. All the dark skinned female rappers have not been able to get this access that other girls have been able to. And we need to talk about that. Y'all are not gonna silence me and silence other folks for the slight criticism of Ice Spice. No one's hating on her. No one's hating her. It's not to the point that I hate her or don't like her. But even Ice Spice herself tweeted a couple years ago and said that pretty privilege exists and she's milking the hell out of it. Which means that this light-skinned, thin woman knows that she has access to being desirable, to people wanting to consume her but based off of what she looks like. And she's milking that. And you know what? I'm not going to I can't stop her from doing that. But what I can do is call it out, in the words of Candy Muse. I think there's a way to call it out in a respectful way. Like when I posted that tweet in response to her performance, it was me being funny, to be honest. Because anybody who knows me, who follows the stuff I talk about and the things I discuss, know that I don't even use in very outdated term like pretty privilege. I haven't used the term pretty privilege, and if I do, it's in quotations because pretty privilege is not the right language to use to discuss what is being discussed. Like, it's just not the right language, which is why anytime you see me sitting in front of this camera in this room, I have books that have inspired me to have a better politic when it comes to desirability, desired capital, and not using terms like pretty privilege. Like, I'm not using any terms like that. Like, I'm not using terms like pretty privilege, like girl. I think even Julesy has done a video about like pretty privilege and how it needs to be retired. And when I used that, it was in relation to her tweeting about it. And because it's just like, hey, you're able to do this and get away with it. Get away with it. Like, people can't even like have a small criticism and say, hey girl, this performance wasn't given, without people jumping in and say, well, she's having fun. I would hope all of the female rappers are having fun while they're on stage. That's the purpose of doing it. Like, they like to have fun. So what makes, like, what Ice Spice do, what she's having fun, like, what is that? The stage presence is just simply not there. It's just not there, and it will get there over time, but it's not there. Even last year when she came out, I don't know what, it was somewhere in New York she came out, it just wasn't giving. And I'm not gonna allow y'all to be the same folks who gave JT and Young Miami hell, the same ones who give No Money hell, the same ones that give other dark-skinned female artists, period, hell for whenever they perform and they looks and everything. And then when this girl come out, y'all wanna praise her for the bare minimum? Hell no. Like, I'm just not gonna allow that. Like, I'm not gonna allow it. Because I see it. I see it. And when I reminded people on Twitter, I was like, do y'all not remember how y'all were chewing JT up? And Young Miami, when Young Miami was performing by himself, y'all remember how y'all were chewing them up? Y'all remember, like, y'all was eating them up, like, left and right. Like, I might have said some stuff too. I'm pretty sure I did, because the performances just wasn't good. They weren't good. But it's not in the way of, and it's not in the way of malice or whatever. It's just like, hey girl, we got to work on this. We got to get it together. Even Lil Nas X, his performances have gotten better. It's with Lil Nas X. I enjoy his music. He's literally my alarm clock when I wake up in the morning. His songs play to wake me up. But the performances have not been the best. They're getting better. But that's not to take away from the artists. It's just like, hey, these artists have to pay attention to that and fine tune it. The same as me, when people make comments about some stuff, I make sure to be able to understand what is hate and what is clear criticism. Like, okay, this point is valid. I could do a better job with this. Let me work on that. And I've been able to do that. But you're not gonna just clock me as a full-time hater, because girl, ain't enough time in the world for me to be hating on Ice Spice. Girl, it's just, and it's no shade. There are so many light-skinned female rappers coming out every 2 weeks. I'll just say that. I'll be saying that. Ice Spice, to me, and to a lot of folks, hasn't proven herself as that girl yet. Even though people are giving her that and all that stuff, she hasn't proven it to me. It doesn't mean that I don't want her to. I can see it, but she hasn't proven it to me yet. And I've seen other girls who've done other things and better not get that same access. And that's not to compare the folks. Like, comparing, y'all use this term like comparing and stuff, like putting women against each other. No. When I'm doing my comparisons, I'm talking about how the industry treats dark-skinned female rappers. That's what I'm talking about. So you're not gonna loop me in with the bull claims of folks comparing, like this ain't no stand culture. This is literally misogyny war, what I'm talking about, and how dark-skinned female rappers are treated versus light-skinned female rappers, and the access they are able to get. And we see that time and time again. So you're not gonna try to silence me and put me in the collective of the other folks who do these bullshit comparisons. When my comparison is just, hey, how is it that X is able to do this stuff, but when Y does the stuff, it's not popping, it's not that. Like, what is that about? And then we get what it comes from. Period. So this is, like I said, this is no hate toward Ice Spice, because songs still being played on my phone. But Ice Spice does benefit from colorism. She does benefit from that. And I feel like people are scared, even though they'll say it. They'll say it, well, Ice Spice does benefit from colorism. Like they just have to add that little sprinkle of like parsley flake to let it know that, well, da-da-da. Like, if you understand that she benefits from colorism, there would be no need to add anything else. It would be no need to you explain where she's having fun, she's doing this and that. Yes, she's doing all this other stuff, and she's able to do these things and not get criticized as bad as the other dark-skinned female rappers. The other ones who've proven themselves time and time again. And I hate that we have to use them and talk about their experiences. And I know, artists don't want to feel like that, like they're getting pity or all the other stuff, but it's not pity, it's a conversation. I don't care if someone was to say, hey, I've seen people do the stuff that Justin has done and get way more access and way more stuff, because honestly, it has happened. I remember back in 2016, I have so many instances of the industry like messing me over for someone who was thinner, someone who was light-skinned, and someone who was red is more desirable. The one that always stands out to me was a couple years ago, I got asked to host this, I thought it was like this sexual health conference, this HIV conference or something, during Pride. And they was like, we want you to speak, we want you to do all this other stuff, like we've seen the stuff you've done. I was like, okay, period. So we in conversation about it, and they said, we want you to do it, da-da-da. Then they came back with an email and said, okay, we got you a co-host, you're gonna co-host with this person, and this person was someone who was not HIV positive, somebody who has never looked through any of their content, has never talked about the importance of sexual health, nothing. This person had never talked about sexual health, never talked about the importance of testing, never really talked about anything. They were a model, they had been in a couple of shows or stuff like YouTube shows and stuff, and they were desirable. They were light skinned, tall and thin and muscular. And they was going to be the co-host at first, and then they moved it towards oh, well, we're just gonna let him host it, and we just want you to interview people as they're coming in. I was like, how did y'all like have me as the host? Then someone's gonna be the co-host, and then have me like, what? I was like, girl, I'm not interested. I'm good. I'll never forget it. And I see that time and time again. So no, this is not even me taking my grievances of the stuff I experienced as someone who's dark skinned. But this is me knowing what things look like and calling it out, which I have no problem doing. So yes, I didn't know that naming that Ice Spice benefits from colorism was a controversial thing until recently. And the people who are pissed off of folks naming that her performances and everything have not been as great, and getting irritated by that, y'all can go find somebody to play with. So I just did not understand why so many people were so protective of a small criticism of her. But I understand why there is a need to protect this light-skinned woman.